Hello, today we are going to talk about Demon King Mammon. We will give you some information about him which you should know, and we should also discuss a really powerful money magic ritual featuring this entity. So, first and foremost, let's answer the question, who is Demon King Mammon? Demon King Mammon is a demon of wealth, infinite growth, and expansion. He serves under Lilith. His name means wealth or riches, and he represents and embodies the dark concept and the dark means of obtaining wealth and power. His energy, in my experience, is dark, lunar, and Saturnian. His days are Monday, Saturday, and possibly Thursday. He's preferably called during the night hours of corresponding planets. So on Monday he is called in the night hour of the moon. On Thursday he is called on the night hour of Jupiter. And on Saturday he is called on the night hour of Saturn. She also embodies the principle of infinite growth. It means that he teaches magicians how to acquire enormous amounts of energy and pushes them into his goals. That is one of the fundamental concepts of working with Mammon. This concept is extremely important because he teaches a magician how to acquire wealth by extremely quickly expanding the amount of money you possess, and it is usually acquired through taking enormous risks. So if you are a stockbroker or a banker, or you want to acquire enormous amount of money through borrowing money and basically using loans from banks, he is a patron of those extremely risky financial endeavors. Then what needs to be understood is that Mammon will teach you financial magic, but that financial magic will be risky and dangerous. So if you really want to have full benefits from work with Mammon, you need to take enormous risks, because basically that enormous risk is necessary if you want to expand your wealth greatly. Now, for the purpose of this video, I was also instructed to talk about Clifford. Clifford is basically, in the contemporary occult literature, depicted and presented as a set of 11 worlds. But Mammon revealed to me, through many other spirits, that basically those 11 spheres of the Clifford, those 11 spheres of the so-called Tree of Death, are not words at all. They are energy states of the human energy body. Now, how Clifford relates to Mammon, we're going to talk about that in a second. So, there are 11 stages of the Clifford, 11 spheres. While some people claim that there are 10, some people claim that there are 11. But basically the one which is really important is, for the purpose of work with Mammon, is Gamaliel. Now, Gamaliel is the second energy stage of the Clifford. Now, for the purpose of the explanation, I am just going to say that according to the traditional Kabbalistic understanding, there are 10 Cliffotic spheres, or according to some other categorizations, 11, while some earliest categorizations claim that there are 7, but I usually use the one with the 10 spheres. Now, each sphere of the Clifford is basically commonly understood as a part of the so-called Tree of Death, or Tree of Knowledge of the Good and Evil. It is basically a scheme which people use to access the infernal worlds. You will see it on the screen here. Now, the thing is that each of those spheres, each of those levels you see on the screen on the Tree of Death is basically an energy state within your own soul. And so through working with those dark spirits of those energy states, you basically acquire a degree of dark attainment. Now, why I am talking about all of this? Well, in order to fully facilitate work with Mammon, you need to reach those states of negative energy within your own system. You need to work with those energies of the Clifford. And we're gonna talk about specifically in this video the energy of the Clifford Mammon mostly corresponds to. Now, according to traditional understanding of Mammon, he is usually connected to the dark sides of Jupiter. So people usually put him, as you see it on this scheme, they put him on dark Jupiter stage, which is Goreshkagal, and it's usually ruled by Ashtaroth. But basically, through my investigation, I found that actually Mammon corresponds to the second stage of negative energy, which is Gamaliel. And Gamaliel is ruled by Lilith, officially. And it also corresponds to obscene aspects of humanity and sexuality and perversions, and basically doing shameful actions. Now, why would Mammon, the spirit of wealth, correspond to shameful action, basically? Why is that the case? Well, if we look at how business works, how corporations work, on the surface level, it's all legal, it's all nice and fine. But through working with Mammon, I found out that basically all of the wealth we have in the world is mostly obtained illegally or preserved through tax evasion. And let me kind of explain how it works. So majority of the really rich people leave legal loopholes to avoid paying taxes. And that is 100% legal, but that is obviously not how tax code is intended to be applied. But they purposefully leave those loopholes in order to not pay anything. And there are many, many other things, extremely obscene things, which are basically in the core of our system, our modern economic structure. And Mammon will basically, as you work with him, teach you those loopholes, and he will teach you how to use them and apply them. And this is one of the most fundamental parts of basically making money. Is to learn how to legally not pay taxes, is to learn how to legally get big loans you are not supposed to get, is to learn how to legally buy properties you are not supposed to be able to buy. And here is the thing, Mammon will teach you all of those things in a legal manner. But if we put it on a moral frame, people will consider it obscene. But that is basically how majority of the money in our current world works. And this is why I gave this specific analysis here. Because you need to understand this if you work with Mammon. In the beginning, yes, you will do money spells. And you will basically get some money from him. But the higher degrees of this operation require you to basically accept the obscene nature of our system, the obscene nature of our social structure, which generates majority of the wealth. Now, after we cleared this specific aspect, and after we explained how Mammon actually operates on a deeper level regarding money magic, we're going to talk about how you can actually prepare for work with Mammon before you start money magic in general. And that's basically done through calling Lilith specifically. So it is done in a following manner. You should call Lilith for 2 weeks in a row, at least every Saturday, and the only request you should give her is to attune you to the sphere of Gamaliel, to the energy stage of Gamaliel, in order to work with Mammon. Now, on this channel, you have a bunch of videos which describe how to call Lilith, so we will basically skip that. After those 2 weeks are basically finished, you are supposed to do this ritual with Mammon for 7 weeks. So raise the sacred space through any of the methods provided on the channel. That will also be skipped because here on this channel you have a bunch of methods for raising the sacred space. But I recommend elemental raising of the sacred space for this specific operation, and I will explain why in the later parts of the video. Then you will call Mammon in that sacred space using the chant Ha Mamon Ha Shadim over and over again. Just repeat the chant in the sacred space basically. When the Mammon comes, you should put a little box made of silver or copper in front of him, and into that box you should put a little coin. Then you should cut yourself and spill a blood upon the coin. And then after that is done, you should proclaim the following: I call you the great demon Mammon to infuse your energy into this coin, and I give you this coin as an offering. Now, I told you to work with Mammon for 7 weeks. So during those 7 weeks, you should call Mammon every Saturday, and every Saturday you should summon him with the chant Ha Mammon Ha Shadim and recite the chant in the sacred space until Mammon appears. Or, I want to be precise, you're going to repeat the chant until you feel the presence of Mammon's energy. The presence of Mammon will usually be manifested in the following ways. You will either feel pressure, heat, or extreme cold in the room. Now, regarding sigil, there are a lot of sigils on the internet, but I find Hebrew name of Mammon to be the most effective here. I find it to be more effective than any of the sigils you can find on the internet, because there is an inherent spiritual value in Hebrew letters, which is absolutely undeniable. So you should call Mammon in the sacred space, and in the box of copper or silver, offer him 1 coin, preferably silver coin, once a week, every week for 7 weeks. And then after this procedure is completed, you should basically call him, and that 7 weeks and that little box, that's basically introduction between you and him. Once you establish this relationship with him, then I advise you to basically call him once a week, every week, and repeat this specific procedure. And every single time you call him in this way, you should tell him to improve your financial situation. And this is basically a weekly ritual you can do to improve your financial standing. Now, I need to elaborate here in this video one really important principle of money magic. You cannot just do money magic and expect money to fall from the sky. Now, money magic is one type of magic which is extremely important in a sense that it has to be grounded. What it really means is that you have to go through all of the 5 elements to manifest it. So, the elements go as follows: earth, water, air, fire, and the spirit. Now, each of those elements represent elemental energies which you use to work with in manifestation of your magic. But it also represents kinda esoteric map to manifesting wealth or anything else. So earth represents physical action, water represents emotion, air represents mind, fire represents the spirit, and then the ether or the soul represents the divine spark. Now, this is why I recommend elemental raising of the sacred space when you work with Mammon for magic, because basically in elemental raising of the sacred space you basically reenact this process, and all of the 4 elements have to be in synergy in order for this to happen. Now, what it also means is that you have not only to do the rituals at Mammon, but also to invest physical effort, emotional effort, mental effort, and spiritual effort. And all of that has to be synchronized in order for your money magic to truly manifest. And this is, I think, the aspect of the money magic majority of the magicians fundamentally deny. Because money magic cannot be achieved only through performing money spells. That's not how money works. You need to study it holistically. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.